This is KBOI 2 News this morning.
Each year, thousands of Idaho kindergartners enter school unprepared because they can't read at grade level.
And this is getting worse statewide. In each of the last 5 years, fewer kids going into kindergarten have been ready for reading.
Yeah, so what's driving this? KBOI 2's Natalie Hurst found out it's tough to improve scores when many students won't finish the school year in the same classroom.
When Julie Geisbush begins her daily lesson plans at Boise's Horizon Elementary, she has her work cut out for her.
And so we go through and we point to the letters and then we make the sound. So apple, ball, cat, and doll.
The reading specialist works with students who need reading intervention since they scored below or near grade level on a test called the Idaho Reading Indicator. The IRI measures kindergarten students' letter identification and letter sound recognition. When students don't pass, they come to this lab where the remediation begins.
It's called progress monitoring, where we just do a quick fluency test or letter sound test just to see where they are, kind of get the baseline.
In the past 5 years, only 50% of Horizon students who took the IRI between kindergarten and third grade read at grade level. That's 5% below the state average. Geisbush points to one glaring issue: students frequently moving in and out of the Boise Bench neighborhoods where Horizon is located.
So last year, just in one school year, we had 97 students withdraw from the school and move to a different school, and 113 new students in the middle of the year.
Now take a look at how that student mobility affects reading scores. In fall of 2013, 115 Horizon kindergartners took the IRI. Half scored at grade level. Now by spring of 2017, only 49 students in that same group were still attending Horizon. But look at what happens when you retest those students who've stayed at Horizon. Their test scores jumped to 81% reading at grade level. And that's above state average.
When we get kids mid-year or we get kids that leave and then come back, our teachers really have to work extra hard, and they do their best they can.
Principal Steve Novotny is marking his third year at Horizon. He says student turnover not only takes the toll on teachers, but hurts students' ability to move on to the next grade.
You start with one foundational skill and you build and you continue to build on that. So if we don't have students that can identify letters and sounds and they go to first grade, they're really having to reteach that in first grade, and they're starting to fall behind in the curriculum.
Boise's superintendent of schools, Dr. Don Coberly, would like to see student mobility factored back into the state's reading scores. They were up until last year, when state lawmakers made a change to remediation funding.
It's just more difficult to deal with remediation than it is with, when kids are ready, you're just going right through and they're picking up all the essential reading skills, so it's just harder.
Dr. Coberly says student mobility often includes other influential factors on reading scores, such as poverty and language barriers.
We have over 2,000 limited English students in our district. About half of those kids are refugee students. These are students that are learning the language. So to expect them to read at grade level on an assessment when they just arrived here from someplace else is where they're not literate in English and sometimes not in their own language is a pretty tall order.
So the Boise School District is seeking solutions. One is implementing a pre-K pilot program at Hawthorne and Whitney elementary schools.
We've seen tremendous growth in the percentage of students that are prepared for kindergarten among those kids that went through the pre-K program.
Quail, and we do the little Queenie quail.
Back in the reading room at Horizon, Julie Geisbush is getting ready for the day's lesson, where up to 80 students will be taking lessons from her before it's time to head home for the day. And when those students board the bus, she's calling upon parents to help out where they can.
Any reading at home is great. I mean, if you read with your child, if you read to your child, if you have your child read to you, if you take turns reading, talk about the story, point out the words that they know, make it a game if you want, if they're little.